close out, we wanted to take a few questions from the chat, and we're gonna do that right now. Let's line them up.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, dropping these questions in. This one's from Alessandro. Who's been your favorite team to watch this season? This is a great question. Thanks for asking this one. I really liked Kansas City. I did. That's probably why I picked them to win this, right? I had a little bit of that underdog mentality of the team that is just so fun, the celebrations that they were putting together. I liked watching this Kansas City side because of the moments that they were able to spark so much joy on the pitch in their goals, and then it just trickled down throughout this. I'm going to go with Kansas City in this one.
Oh gosh, yeah. Any team from the Midwest, right? Kansas City. I guess that would also include Chicago Red Stars at this point. Portland Thorns, without saying. Again, what Sophia Smith has done this year, period, both for club and country at this point, because I think it's fair to get a little more reflective, right, and broaden and widen that lens a little bit more. Again, it just really has. It's been incredibly special to witness and how she's been able to retain this form on both stages, again, club and country. So Thorns for sure. Like I said, any Midwest, so
San Diego,
Chicago Red Stars,
San Diego too.
Oh my God,
really impressed to watch
both California teams, the two expansion sides coming into this league for the first time. I mean, Angel City staying relevant in the playoff conversation, maybe not the picture, but the conversation all the way through the final match week. Had so many, but those are maybe top 5, right?
Top 5 for sure. James Miller asking, is anyone boosting their standing for U.S. women's national team call-up after this? Sandra, what do you think?
I need Adriana Franch back in those national team camps immediately. And quite frankly, I need to know why some of these call-ups haven't happened quicker. I think personally, again, I'm not the coaching staff, and I'm definitely not someone with power in those positions. But I think coming out of the CONCACAF W Championship in July, after the main rotation that we saw between Nair and Casey Murphy, bringing in a third goalkeeper, I think should have been somebody like Franch. So I would love to see Franch back in the pool for the U.S. women's national team, and that's all I'm seeing right now in headlights. How about you?
Yeah, I like that shout for sure about AD Franch. Tonight maybe wouldn't get the call up. I know Vlatko Ananovsky was in Audi Field tonight watching this match, but Alex Luera, the rookie for Kansas City, this is a player that wasn't nominated for NWSL Rookie of the Year, and I think that was not a good decision at all by the league, because this is a rookie player that has proven herself all over the pitch for Matt Potter's side, whether it's defensively, higher up the field in that 6. And specifically, when you look at the landscape of the United States women's national team, there are a lot of question marks in the midfield, the defensive 6 role. We saw Jalen Howell get a few minutes in that spot. Sam Coffey, who also played tonight for Portland Thorns, she has a lot of significant minutes. And I think that it could be Sam Coffey's role to lose, along with Andy Sullivan, who plays for Washington Spirit. She's in that 6 role, but why not elevate that competition? Bring in a player like Alex Luera, who can play in that 6 role, who can even play higher up at the pitch if you need her to. She can play across the back line in those 2 center back roles. I think that Luera is just such a versatile player that she deserves to call up to the U.S. women's national team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I don't know if we're going to see for those Germany friendlies coming up in November, if we'll see more call-ups. I think the coaching staff of the U.S. team might go ahead and just keep retaining the players that they've been calling in. But if there's by chance an ID camp or those January camps that tend to have bigger rosters, why not?
Next question from the Colt 45 show. Thought on San Diego Wave FC's first year?
Epic.
I mean, you look at this expansion side, the way they came in with Casey Stoney taking her role at the helm, and then the roster that she was able to put together, getting Naomi Girma, #1 draft pick. You love to see a defender being drafted #1 overall, and the way she built her roster around a Kaylin Sheridan in goal, a Naomi Girma, #1 draft pick, to an Alex Morgan, who ends up being the Golden Boot winner. And then a reflection of it. Casey Stoney wins Coach of the Year. Kaylin Sheridan wins Goalkeeper of the Year. Alex Morgan wins Golden Boot. You got Naomi Girma, who wins Defender and Rookie of the Year. I think that this team was the complete package. And the fact that they made it to the playoffs, they got to host a playoff match. I really loved watching the San Diego team this year from the very first early days.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in 100% agreement. I think for everything that we've seen out of somebody like Sophia Smith doing what she has been doing for the front lines, whether it's for club or country, I don't know how you don't have that same argument or enthusiasm for somebody like a Naomi Girma in that back line. We're talking about future of this league and future of the national team. You're absolutely talking about those two players in the same breath.
Yeah, I agree completely. Another question that we have, guys, keep them coming. Thank you. This one's from username. That's real original.
Hello.
What would you say was Rian Wilkinson's most important decision in taking Portland over the top? I like this question. Sandra, what do you think?
Most important decision. I think from the beginning, presenting challenges to a team as deep as the Thorns. I mean, she started out presenting a 3-back to these players, and they bought in and changed things and continued to change things up. We saw this team play in multiple formations this year, and perhaps her background as a former player, her very calm presence and demeanor, helped generate that type of buy-in from the players. Because sometimes with so many changes, there could be a little perception amongst players that coach doesn't know what they're doing. But there was never that layer or element in terms of Wilkinson and how she was coaching this team.
I agree completely. She challenged the IQ of these players. She even talked about Sophia Smith, and Smith wants to be the best player in the entire world. And Rian Wilkinson talked about how in order for Smith to be the best player, yes, she needs to score goals. She needs to continue to work on her shot, but it's her mental side of the game that needs to continue to sharpen. And that's how she challenged these players. I mean, specifically, if we look at the last 2 hours of Rian Wilkinson and Portland Thorns' life, what took them over the top? The fact that she rotated in players like Janine Becky, Hina Sugita, Crystal Dunn towards the end of this match and said, yo, let's just pile it on Kansas City.
Yeah. And a really short answer, maybe, hey, just taking Sam Coffey, who was typically an attacking role, and putting her in defensive mid.
Huge.
There you go.
Claire dropping this one in here. Who would you have liked to see nominated for awards this year that wasn't? I already gave a shout out to Alex Loera, Kansas City rookie, that was not nominated. I think I would have given it to her. Also, Rian Wilkinson, not nominated for Coach of the Year. I think she could have deserved a shout. Not sure if she would have won, but I think you throw that shout in there along with Laura Harvey at OL Reign, Matt Potter at Kansas City, and Casey Stoney with San Diego.
I'm in 100% agreement. I listen. You all know that I'm lead NWSL writer at CBS Sports. I put it in the piece. I said, you know who's going to be a dark horse? Unfortunately, somebody like Alex Loera. And if margins are narrow on the pitch, apparently they're very, very narrow in voting as well between coaches, players, media, in terms of the preliminary round determining the nominations. I can only imagine that they were very, very thin. And seeing Loera and the season that she put together, absolutely, I think warranted at least a nomination.
This question from Bradford saying, what do you guys think of the level of play from the first year to tonight? NWSL starting in 2013. This was the 10th year celebrated today in 2020 for this championship. Sandra, I'm going to defer to you on this one.
I've been around such a long time. No, I hear you. I feel you on that. Listen, I loved what we've seen this year in 2022. I think we hear it all the time. We've heard it constantly in NWSL. The narrative around this league is that it is the most competitive league in the world. And I still think that that's true even tonight. But in terms of the level of play on the pitch, I think what we've seen this year, again, it's a little bit of a reset button, a little bit of a refreshing type of soccer that we've seen throughout the league. We saw teams with head coaches who wanted to present new ideas to their players and try to execute those things on the pitch. We saw Potter sticking with a 3-back all the way through to an NWSL Championship final, or somebody like a Wilkinson kind of toying around and tinkering along the way. We heard somebody like a first-year head coach and winner of Coach of the Year, Casey Stoney, talk about coming from the Women's Super League in England and coming to NWSL and quickly getting a hard lesson on how transitional of a league the NWSL is, but then having to make adjustments for herself as a coach and her team. So I love to see how far this league has come in terms of the level of play from 2013 to 2022. I think you could go back in time and see a lot of the old trends of American domestic women's soccer, which was that players were very athletic and very physical. And those were the things that they relied upon. But it's not just that anymore.
And now the players have rights because there's a CBA.
Biggest one.
Gonna drop that one in there. Let's take this one from Just Your King. I believe that says, how hype was the stadium for the first primetime NWSL final? I love this question because we got to be here all week. Washington, D.C. was buzzing. The lead up to this, the media days that were happening, and all day today. I mean, the Fan Fest outside of Audi didn't start till 5:15, 5:30, and all day walking around D.C., looking at the monuments. I went on a run this morning. Everyone was dressed in NWSL gear, whether it was Kansas City, Chicago stuff, Washington Spirit stuff, Portland stuff. Everyone was dressed to the nines in their NWSL gear. The fans showed up and they showed out. That was my experience leading up to it. And then the Fan Fest that the league put on was tremendous. It was over the top. There was player autograph signings. There was live shows, of course, from us at Attacking Third. JWS did one as well. There was merch from every single team in the NWSL. It was spectacular to be here.
This is my 6th NWSL final covering it in a media capacity. This is the greatest NWSL final championship finals experience that I have ever personally witnessed, gone through, experienced, etc., etc. It was outstanding, completely memorable, and transformational. This entire week.
It sure was. I loved it. Thank you, everyone, so much for your questions, Claire. Yeah, I go on runs. I also played pickup this morning with some of the supporters groups that were here. I heard about it in DC. I've got a lot of energy, guys. I've got to get some of it out. Yes, we're going live well into the next day. I'm always going to go for a run. I'm going to play some pickup in the morning. So thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us. This is fantastic.
This was fun. I love that we were able to take a few questions. I'm sorry if we didn't get to yours. We saw that there was a few that dropped in there. But again, this was delightful. I can't wait to get even more emotional about it when I get home and all reflective of the entire week leading up to this point. Lisa, we did it. We made it.
We sure did. The 2022 NWSL champions were crowned. Portland Thorns in a dominant 2-0 win over Kansas City Current. It's been a pleasure chatting this year with you, Sandra. Thanks so much to everyone who joined us.
We're going to sign off. Make sure you follow Attacking Third everywhere you get your podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. That stuff helps us out so much here at the show.